Hey guys, Wolvie here. This is the Warrior of Light rework analysis video for Dissidio Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Global for the 2nd of November 2020. Now you guys will have noticed here that the intro screen when you get into the game, it's a lot different. I wasn't expecting to see this, but it is what it is. I actually am happy to see this. So with that, we're going to go over the burst and LD weapons for this particular video in more detail, alongside information on Warrior Light's second rework. Yes, it is the rework number 2. So the only spoiler I will have for this video is that to this day on JP, Warrior Light does not have his 8080 awakening on JP as of yet. So that means he will be having another wing to his character enhancement board coming along in the future. We just don't know when. So they'll come even later for global. So with that, I will be referring to information from the Tonberry Trip and the Dissidia database website. So I have links to them in the description below. My phone is kind of low on battery juice, so I'm going to try to keep this as to the point as I can. And the usual disclaimer before I go any further, any opinion in this video is, as always, my opinion and my opinion only. So we're just going to jump into certain things. So I will meet you, believe it or not, on the banner connected to the LD and the burst weapon for Warrior Light. So I will be back. Okay, so I am back. Like I said, we're gonna go over the BT and LD weapons for Warrior Light. He does not have his 8080 awakening on JP as of yet, so that is one of those things I will go into with my opinion in that regard a little bit later on in this video. We're gonna go over the LD weapon first. The name of the weapon is called Dual Rapier. The name of the ability is called Bitter End. What Bitter End does in its base form, grants party to bravery based on his own initial bravery, then unleashes an 8-hit ranged brave attack and HP attack. Stolen bravery may exceed max up to 180%, deals 50% of HP damage to non-targets, inflicts lock on all enemies for 5 turns, which draws the target's attention, grants special effect of Special Guardian to self for 5 turns, grants shield to party for 7 turns. This reduces bravery damage equal to own initial bravery times 3 times multiplier. So this what it has. So basically what shield does, it nullifies a certain amount of brave damage. So when it comes down to the initial bravery stat that Warrior Light is relying on, the higher his initial bravery, the more effective this is. So you see here on the indicator, the value indicates remaining turns of effect. While special effect Guardian Shield is active, slightly raises party's initial max bravery and attack, moderately raises party's defense, decreases HP damage based on remaining individual shield resistance value. Resistance value reduced only by brave damage, does not stack with special effects of the same name. So we're going to close that window out. So, okay. So it says here, 1 out of 3 raises initial bravery and attack. 2 out of 3, another raise when using Bitter End. Increases duration of Guardian Shield from 5 turns to 10. And 3 out of 3, you get another use of Bitter End, as well as another raise to initial bravery and attack. Now, a lot of people who are familiar with Warrior Light on JP said that once you get your hands on the LD, you're done. Now, in my case, and I do want to give out a report on this particular item, I actually had to pity the LD. And I got the burst kind of early, believe it or not. So it's one of those, I'm still in the bad RNG period for my account. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So anyway, we're going to go into the burst weapon itself. The name of the weapon is called Sunblade. The ability is called Ultimate Shield. So what this does here is it increases its own bravery based on initial bravery, unleashes a 12-hit group range brave attack and group HP attack, moderately increased brave damage when attacking a single target, deals proportionate HP damage to each target. Bravery can exceed the 99.99. As you can see here, Stone Bravery may exceed max up to that number you see there. And the HP, so you get to see right here. So burst effect 4 turns after use grants bravery equal to individual shield resistance value when shield active at start of the ally's turn. Moderately increases parties granted brave limit. Limit of bravery that may be stolen in the excess of individual max bravery. Does not stack with identical characters' burst effects. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to jump into the actual information on his rework. So adjustment details are as follows. So this particular rework that Warrior Light gets now, it's just his Crystal Strength level 55 and 6 passive abilities, which is Shining Shield and Throat Buckler extension respectively. Now for Shining Shield, this does not get any more uses. Now, there is going to be the information you see here in red. Increased bravery may exceed max up to 120%, so now we see some overflow on skill 1. Shield extension, so there is a large effect boost. Now you get 2 more turns on skill 1, and sets the duration of the shield. As well as a large effect boost. So you have the max brave up. This is also another increase of duration by 2 turns. Now you see here the info about the brave attack and the plus variant, the HP attack and its plus variant, as well as the plus variant to the HP attack. So now we get to see on skill 1 we have, for sure, some overflow on this one. Now for skill 2, Throat Buckler, we see 2 more uses post-secondary rework. Now you see here, tremendously increased cumulative brave damage. The overflow limit here is at 180%. Large shield boost, duration plus 2 turns. It gets 7 turns to Will of Light. So that's on that. So what do I think about this whole thing regarding Warrior Light and the secondary rework, the pros and cons? Now, the biggest thing that he gets out of this one, is, and this is a pro, is that the duration of the buffs he grants to the party, which is huge. The duration to going up to 7 turns is excellent. I cannot say enough good stuff about this particular aspect of the rework. Now, the whole thing I noticed about the Tonberry troop and what they mentioned regarding the damage output, the max bravery, all that stuff, I took a look at the stat grid for Warrior Light on the Dissidia database website. And this is where I actually have to disagree with the Tonberry troop on, because when you look at that stat grid for each character in DFFOO, let's just go into one of these other characters, for example, Charlotta. It's just that you have to figure out, okay, which stats are the strongest? Like, between the 6 for that grid on that website, we have HP, attack, defense, initial brave, speed, and max bravery. Now, which is the weakest, which is the strongest in sense of their base? Meaning that if one character has a really weak initial brave stat, base-wise, and that is Sync for sure. I do know that she has a really weak initial brave stat, meaning that that's something that people might want to focus on in the sense of, like, how to improve that character. So, with Charlotta, with some of her skills, you might want to focus on the thing that makes that a certain skill, like, really good, because she does require a solid attack stat to make the most out of her. And this is Charlotta here, she is one of those characters who is yet to get a rework, and as well as she does not have her LD out on JP as of yet, as far as I know, but don't quote me on that one. But that's the same thing with the Warrior Light. His max bravery stat is one of his weakest stats. Meaning that he's not going to be dishing out as much damage as some people would think. And the thing is with Warrior Light, yeah, it's like he's got a decent attack stat and he's got a solid defense. So, is the max bravery thing really necessary? That's something no one should be answering. That's something you gotta figure out on your own. And the thing is, when it comes to characters where their defense is actually their best stats, certain things may not be as necessary as you guys think. And the thing is, with Warrior Light, he is a support unit. In translation to that, the support units are not meant to have a high max bravery base stat. Now, granted, it is ideal for any unit to have a good amount of max bravery. At the same time, certain units may not be necessary. And for Warrior Light, it's not necessary to have a solid max bravery. Now, what I kind of don't like about this is that he's primarily a single target thing dominant, meaning that the majority of his attacks are still single target. Now, granted, the LD fixed the issue pertaining to getting the lock on everybody. You spare a use of skill 2, but he kind of needs something where, like, maybe some more AoE HP damage wise outside the LD and the burst. That's probably like where that kind of needs to go. And the attack stat is like, yeah, he could be a bit better there too. Now, the one thing I don't like pertaining to Warrior Light skill 2 is that the duration of the buffs he grants himself from there. It's only 3 turns. That needs to be longer than that. And with composition, with Warrior Light, he actually offers some degree of flexibility that other support units may not. But the composition for Warrior Light, this could hurt him or it could help him. That sort of thing. Now for his 80-80 Awakening, we don't have that yet. We also don't have the LD board extension for his character enhancement boards yet on JP, as far as I know. But if he were to be given a third rework, and I kind of say this because according to the Dissidia Database Twitter thing, Bartz might have gotten his third rework when his burst and LD weapons came along on JP. So, with the third rework, if Warrior Light were to get it, they gotta go after the duration for the buffs he gives to himself from skill 2. Now, the reason why skill 2 needs to be focused in a little bit further than that is because 3 turns is nowhere near enough. He's got to be pumping out throw buckler too much. He might be running out of gas in that regard. So, more uses for skill 2, and the whole thing with the LD, probably go from AoE Splash to maybe AoE Split. Or have the burst ability alternatively go from AoE Split to AoE Total. So, a little bit more on that. The duration of the buffs for skill 2, that needs to be longer, because having the duration for like skill 1 be better, far more superior, it kind of throws Warrior Light a bit out of whack. But that is just me. So with that, I do have 2 more rework analyses to go through, that being Laguna and Thancred. So to just do a super quick recap, the duration extension for skill 1, and in turn the LD, that's awesome. And I like the fact that the LD is a way to have the lock on everybody. That saves some skill uses for skill 1. However, skill 2 still remains the problem with Warrior Light, because 3 turns is not enough for him. I'm sorry, but I had to say it like it is. Now, I do hope that if he were to get a third rework, they focus almost entirely on skill 2. And if they were to do anything on the EX, they could probably give it the Sarah treatment where it's like, you hit one person, but the HP damage is with everybody. That sort of thing. So with that, I am done. With Wolvie here signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.